My name is Annelisa Ligunya, but I prefer to be called Anele, and I'm from Fuleni. After finishing my grade 12, obviously, I had to focus on life and other things. And then that's where I found Frichen organization during 2020. Frichen is a black lesbian organization that was first based in Kailicha when it started. And so basically we fight for hate crime, homophobia, what else? Transphobia and xenophobia. That's our main goals. Yeah. As an activist, I believe that it's important to know at least basics of the law, because our work requires us to go to courts, requires us to communicate with cops, requires us to check the constitution most of the time, because we're fighting for rights. So what rights are you fighting for if you don't understand what are you fighting for? It was very useful and it was new, the way that they taught us. With people's law, you talk, you say it, if you want to, you can even test it practically. So it's more like you're learning and you're doing it. You're learning while you're doing it. And obviously you're gonna make mistakes, but there are people who are gonna help you while you walk in that journey or while you take the steps.
My name is Bulelwa Gaza. I'm from Delft, but originally from King Williamstown in the Eastern Cape. I was involved with as a youth in the early 80s, I was in high school. Then later on, when I got to Cape Town, I was involved with the local structures. I got to work in the constituency office, the parliamentary constituency office. You have to be a jack of all trades. The next person comes in, has a problem with a labor issue. The next one has a problem with SASSA. The next one is the Department of Justice. I was interested. Initially, I wanted to be a lawyer when I grew up, but financially, I couldn't afford it. Then when I saw this paralegal course in people's law, I saw that actually my niece saw this one and said, this is what we've been wanted to do all along. Now, if I have a certain issue I'm dealing with in the community, I know how to research. I was taught that in people's law, how to research how something related to that case in particular, and also how to write legal letters, like in a good way. Also, the other big part that I took out of people's law is networking with different people from different organizations. Sometimes I don't have experience in housing, for instance, but now I know I can consult with someone from Housing Assembly. How do you deal with this? And I get help. There's lots of things I thought I knew and how to handle issues that change a lot. For instance, in our communities, if something is wrong at the clinic, we think about dying. But that's not a solution, really. Then there's other ways of handling the issue effectively. Because if we toy today, it will be toy, then after a week it's quiet. Then if we handle it in a petition, for instance, legally, with the petition and stuff, even after 3 months, 6 months, we can follow up. This was not attended. We raised this issue on a certain date. We have something to refer to. We raised this on a certain date, but it was not attended. Then we take it further. We have evidence going back where we can say this is the steps we took. Then this is how far we have now.
My name is Kim Dykers. I'm from Tafelsig, Mitchells Plain, Cape Town. After I matriculated, I came to People's Law. Then I saw a job advertisement, and then I applied, then I got the job. That is at the Mitchells Plain Community Advice and Development Office, which I am still working at right now. So what I do, I am a behavioral modification facilitator. We've mainly focused on substance abuse, anti-bullying, and discipline. We go to schools, speak about those topics and the topics that falls under that to the grade 4s to 7s. And then when we see that the children have a behavioral issue, then we refer it to our coordinator when he will step in. And then if it's an issue for social development, and then they'll take the issue to social development. So we had a session on wills and estate, right? So people didn't know how to draft a will and all of that. So that is where that came in. And people didn't know that they can draft their own will. So that is also where where my knowledge from the People's Law came in, and to tell them that you don't need to necessarily pay for a will. You can draft your own will with this requirements and all of that. I enjoyed all of the modules that we had, but mostly wills and estate. The marriages one, that one I enjoyed the most, with the child's portion and all of that. First I didn't even know about the child's portion and that. So the marriages, why I say the marriages is because I didn't know about the 5 different types of marriages, right? Then after that, then I knew about it. And like as a young lady going forward, now I know like the different types of marriages. If I do get married one day, I know that this is the procedures, I need to follow this and that. Yeah, so that was my favorite one.
My name is Isaiah Mombilo, and then I'm from Congo, DRC. So the work we do, it's a work of filling up a gap of so many matters which never been solved in so many years, as Congolese been here in South Africa more than 20 years. The gap is more about the information of the application of refugee process document, about the knowledge of law of South Africa, about the rights, knowing the rights and the law of South Africa in all aspects. And we realize that we cannot have that more without to come also in people law, because people law going to make us to become more professional, make us to become more knowledgeable, make us to become the people who can bring accurate information and also have a deep understanding of the law. Before, we used to speak about South Africa law without to make it to look like someone knows what you're talking about. In the case of maybe someone apply refugee ID, they didn't get a refugee ID. When they come here and they wrote an email to the General Manager of Home Affairs to request, please look at this and this. If you have maybe so many cases similar, and then I had to make an appointment in Home Affairs to go there physically to speak face to face with the General Manager so that we can find a solution there immediately. So if it doesn't, so we escalate it, and if it's not, we also push to Parliament, in the Portfolio Committee of Home Affairs. Since we get the skill from the people law, I think it changed our way of dealing. I think since day one, and organize because what we do every week, once a week or two, we in a WhatsApp group where we give information and knowledge or educate people in the community, and then it's like a WhatsApp group of Congolese civil society, can be I think 400 people, and then also other group, and the people also other group. They always wait like Monday when 8:30 tonight, when the Congolese civil society is starting its plan of education, program education, and then they all listen, and then they all share. And it goes from Cape Town, Pretoria, everywhere, people starting, it becomes like a culture of whenever civil society says something, they all wait, the whole community. So because they believe that we give accurate information. And also what is amazing, it's people law give me now that feeling of being proud to read a lot, to read the law, to go deep, and then it's become a bit of reading now, law amendment, and it's pushed me even to look at what's going on, what it changed. So I become more way and then paying attention more than before, because and I can link now acts, I can link now section, I can link now this, and I can make people to understand certain logic. And then that is the skills people will give it to us, and then we are transferring that as well.
My name is Jackie Poking, and I'm from Wakap. My first political gathering was the launch of the UDF that I went to, and that was it. After that, I was no longer happy to be at home and hear the stories. I wanted to participate. Wakap is one of the only residential areas. One, it's the oldest residential area, in South Africa, and then it's one of the only ones still left within the city of Cape Town where poor people can live. Everywhere else they've been removed. The struggles we are facing is, simply put, even though it's under the category of cultural struggles and traditions, simply put, it's the ability for people to be able to live where they've always lived and to practice traditions that has been handed down. So that is the struggle, to be able to live in an area that your ancestors has lived in, and to be safe, to feel that you can live there, not have to have this fear that with enough money others can eventually force you out. Because of our struggles in Bokab, more and more it comes down to the knowledge of the law, to interpret it, to read it, and to understand it. I think the People's Law Course is extremely important and extremely needed. And the reason I say that is everyone should know what I know in terms of the law. Everyone. In every house there must be at least one person that understands what is going on in terms of the law. If people in the community know the law and know their rights, they will be better able to understand what to do. If I can give an example, when we were doing our heritage, so for a while before we started, people would say, oh, you guys don't understand heritage, you don't understand the act, you don't know, this is not how it works. And we're like, it's okay, we'll learn, it's fine. We'll have workshops, we'll discuss it. What we then did is, every week we would have workshops and discussions. So on a Friday we used to meet with the city's heritage department so that we could draw up our heritage protection overlay zone. So that by the time we compiled a heritage protection overlay zone, people understood what it was because it came from the bottom up. By the time we had 19 sites declared, people understood that. I found that before this course, there are some things that was almost just accepted because that's what the regulation says. That's what, if the city says, but that's the law, that's the bylaw, you're like, oh, what can I do? The law says this. But now it's like, wait a minute. What bylaw says? Where is it? Let me see it. And somebody says to you, but the rule so and so. And then you can quote back and say, I've looked at that rule. That's not what it says. This is my interpretation of it. So now we're having a nice back and forth discussion. So it's very important, in my opinion, that activists join this course, do this course. It will only help them and their communities.
My name is Masizole. Konyela is the surname. I'm originally from the Eastern Cape. Right now I'm in Cape Town, based in East Rivier. I've been actively involved in the HIV field for more than 20 years now. So I am a human rights activist with a special focus on HIV prevention. As much as law can be viewed as being expensive, but it can actually be accessible if we know how, or if we come together as a community. Currently, I am working with inmates, which is the Department of Correctional Services. The approach even there, it's always about safeguarding, the rights of inmates and ensuring that indeed DCS becomes a place of rehabilitation and corrections at the end of the day. When we think law, we think law jargons, legal jargons, Latin this, Latin that. At least the way in which the class was carried out. Even someone who does not have a background, a human rights background, it was easy for us all, to understand the content, at the very same time to engage with the content.
Okay, my name is Lynn Phillips and I reign from Mitchell's Plain. I'm actually an anti-crime activist for more than 30 years. I'm working for the Department of Local Government Community Development. I'm a community development practitioner. I'm also the regional coordinator for the Metro in that particular field, and it is based on my activism. These laws that we need to understand, and for that, I think that was my main purpose, is to understand the law and how do I use that law in order to better the lives of people in our communities that I serve. So when I oppose bail specifically, when it comes to murders of innocent lives, you need to quote the law in order to make it effective in court. I use the PI Act specifically when it comes to unlawful evictions, and that assisted me a lot. The labor law, because I work with staff, and the laws needs to be implemented. If you work in government, you need to understand the legislation and policies, so you need to use that. And that actually, people's law actually opened my eyes, how to apply these laws. The other law that is prevalent for me is the Refugee Act, because I've dealt with xenophobia at the time, and that is the reason why this course has actually empowered me to deal with those type of matters. I am taking the course further. I've actually trained volunteers as well as to how to do an affidavit, because I feel lifelong learning should happen all the time. The law is always been there, but we were too afraid to grasp or to go through it and analyze and equip yourself with it. But if you simplify it to our communities, I think people would be able to stand up and protect themselves and fight for their rights. This, for activists, is the best course that they could have, because then they would have a broader understanding of how the law works. I've dealt with a lot of sale and execution. I never knew that it can be stopped even in court, and that was what this course has taught me. I've spoken to the institution and particularly their lawyers, the institution's lawyers, where I've actually extended the term of the bond at a lower rate for the client so that they can't lose their house, and I used the law in order to do that. What the court actually just wanted was that there's an agreement on paper and how the person is going to pay, who's going to pay, which bank the money is going to come from, all those things. And that is how I've actually successfully done quite a lot of those type of cases. If it wasn't for people's law, I would have been that submissive person again, and introvert and not trying to challenge particularly attorneys. And I've done that. Through this course, I could do that because I then became very firm on the matters, legal matters that I had to deal with. A paralegal would give advice, and there is no cost attached to it, as to guide a citizen in the right direction according to the law and what the law is saying. That is basically for me what the paralegal's function is.
My name is Papa Mamabocha. I'm an activist and a human rights defender from Equal Education. I come from Ekalicha, Makai, Mandela Park. And Equal Education in 2018 started to expand our footprint to institutions of higher learning. Then there was this opportunity for me to join People's Law. And I was like, okay, this is an opportunity for me that when I engage with my comrades in institutions of higher learning, I can at least at some point bring my legal sort of perspective. My favorite module has to be the Regulation of the Gatherings Act, because I think a big part of that regulation regulates how activists should go about with their different demonstrations. So I mean, I can take this again to our students at uni, and when we plan these gatherings and mass actions, we know that this is a line that we should think along legally. But also a skill that I learned in this whole program has to be like critical thinking and also writing. We grew up with this idea of looking at the law professional as far away, detached from the communities. So I think it's important to have sort of paralegals in community paralegals, people who live with these people who live with ordinary people in these communities, so that they're easily accessible, so that also they're able to understand law, but not law from a bigger perspective, but law that like impacts them, regulations that impacts them at a community level.
My name is Nozokotsoki Balendlela. I'm originally from Eastern Cape, I'm Tata, but I moved in Cape Town when I was 11 years old, so I stayed in Woodstock for the rest of my life. So right now, as I'm talking, I'm staying in Woodstock at the occupation there. The name of the occupation is Sisikul House. When I was staying in Cape Town with my aunt before, we were evicted then. Then after the eviction, we were not having any place to go and stay to. There was a sale of Tafelberg site, it was in Sea Point. Then this when RTC was formed, because we were the people that were stopping the sale of the Tafelberg. The Tafelberg is one of the big sites that we were fighting for to build affordable houses, as the houses is an issue in South Africa. One of the things that we are fighting for as Reclaim the City is the land and the housing. And then I wanted to know the laws of the land. I wanted to know the laws of the housing. The skills that I learned out the course, I would say one of them is how to write affidavits. That is number one. Number two, how to help people for the maintenance. Because I did that, and then also how to help people to look for the social grants. I'm having 3 cases where they was successful. One, I helped someone from the occupation who was looking for the grant. I helped her how to do it, which forms, where to go to SASSA, which forms must ask there, where to go from the SASSA to go to the clinic, which daughter, what times, and then I assisted her on that. And then that was successfully, she's on grant right now. Number 2, I helped one of the ladies, one of my friends who was looking for the social the maintenance, but then she started the process before, but because of the process, these places you have to follow the line, you have to do this, then she didn't know what to do. Then now that I was here, I have the knowledge, I know where to go, what to do, what forms are needed, what documents are needed. Then I assisted her also. Then also her application was successful. Right now her child is receiving the support from the father. The third one, it was the affidavit. That one is just to file the affidavit for someone there by the occupation who was having this thing of gender-based violence. So now we're like, she must go and then open the case there by the police station, but then there you have to write the affidavit to say that before you go to the court to draw the court order for the person, so that mustn't be close to the person. So then I did that for her, then also that one was successful. How I would say all the sections, I love them, especially the marriage ones, because us Black Africans, we lack the knowledge of the marriages. When we are talking about the marriage, we just talk about the marriage, we're happy that I'll get married, and then at the end of the day, you don't know what you are putting yourself through. I would say the course is for everyone who's committed, who love their communities, because this course is about you giving back to the community. It's not the thing that you're gonna keep it for yourself. You must take it, get the knowledge, and then go and give back to the community. So I would say it's for everybody who's willing, who's committed, who loves the community, who want to make the change to the community also. Before, when I was evicted as Tsuki and my aunt, if I did know what I know now, I wasn't supposed to be evicted that time, because I stood up myself saying no. And then I will know what procedure must I follow. You understand? So now doing this paralegal course, and I'll be, as I'm saying that, I will invite youth, will have a better understanding also of law and of other things. We won't just do because we want to do it. At least now there will be some guidance on doing things. Also, the constitution of South Africa is standing on our side, saying that you can't evict someone, leaving someone outside. So that's what I'll use also constitution, and then use also the laws of South Africa.
People's Legal Center, increasing access to justice.